We are now recording the intro to Croatia, Slovenia, Bosnia. My computer that sounds crackly. Do you hear that?
Yeah.
Okay, so I won't talk too much, but I will turn this over to all of you just to make an introduction statement about what draws you to this. And I'll just call it Wendy. You were here. Why don't you say hello?
I just enjoy traveling with you, and it's nice getting a Jewish perspective on different things. I don't know how much of a Jewish perspective this trip is going to be, but it seemed like it would have some.
Oh, definitely next time. We're going to the tour. All right, what I'm going to do is mute everybody except if I call on you because I'm going to make cut down on the crackle. So, Fran,
Hi, everyone. I'm Fran Shore. I'm in Philadelphia, and Rayzel was our student rabbi back in way back. And I want to travel. I enjoyed traveling with Rayzel in Morocco. It was excellent experience. I just like the informal way that Rayzel sets things up, and we get to know each other and build community. And we stay on schedule pretty much 90% of the time. And it was just a fun experience. And why do I want to go to Croatia? I'm happy to go anywhere I haven't been I haven't traveled in a while. Thank you.
we only run a little late if there's a really good reason, like a major detour, an exciting adventure. We have to stop and see what that is. So, and then things happen, but that's out of our control. Esther, can you unmute and just say an intro statement?
Hey there. Yes, well, I have never traveled with you, and my friend Myra Weiner introduced me to this trip coming up, and I really need to get out of Dodge. I mean, America ain't what it used to be. What can I say? And I'm looking forward to a girls' trip, and I'd like to find out about this one.
Great. Just for the record, we always have a couple of guys there that help hold the yang energy on the trip, so that's always good too. But welcome. And
Thank you.
where's Myra? Is she going to be here today?
Well, she wanted to. She actually has an appointment with her son in a hospital, so she's trying to. She said, I have to take cryptic notes.
All right, Steve, how about you?
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Steve Diamond. I'm Susan's husband. We've been interested in Reb Rayzel's trip before, and this one sounded very interesting. And we've both been interested in Croatia, and so we're excited to hear about the trip.
I understand you have been a lot of different places, so this one is on the bucket list. We might as well get it checked off. Tony.
Hi. I've been wanting to travel with you for many times, and the timing just didn't work. I do try to travel quite a bit, but I have not been to Croatia, and I really have wanted to go to there, and then also Slovenia, because I think that's part of the trip, right? Yeah. So anyway, yeah, my concern is the weather a little bit, because I was looking at the weather in February. So that is my concern, to be honest. I don't like cold weather. I'm not used to it.
Okay.
But because it seems like so many people on here are from the East Coast, so I'm probably the only one here on the West Coast. And like I said, I'm not used to cold weather, so I'm a little concerned about that.
Well, I'll let Joseph comment on that. We keep you moving pretty quickly. I go in the shoulder seasons, yes, to the winter in the Northeast. I do go in the shoulder seasons because they're cheaper and
Right. Less people. Yeah.
easier to travel when it's gotten so hot for both
Mhm.
the summer and spring that I feel like if it's a little chilly and we're still moving around a lot, we're okay. But you'll make your own decision.
Right,
But Joseph will talk about that when we get there.
right.
Gary,
Yeah, I really want to go.
Sari?
Um, yeah, hi, I'm Sari from Victoria, BC, West Coast, originally East Coast, but a lot of us made our way out west. I was actually in Croatia, Bosnia, and Montenegro 6 years ago, and it was June and it was boiling hot. Um, and I don't normally want to return to places that I visited like that, but in this case, I do. It was like so amazing. And I just want to see it all again and learn more. And I was on some tours and there was different Jewish places and everything, but to have more depth would be wonderful. It was an absolutely wonderful place. So like I really tell people it's absolutely fabulous. It's really worthwhile going twice.
Oh, wow. That's good to hear.
Mm.
Thank you. Evelyn.
Thank you. Well, I traveled to Greece with Rayzel, and that was very exciting. My husband, who passed 4.5 years ago of Parkinson's disease, we had planned on saving money, which we actually did, to go on trips in our senior years. What's all that clicking coming from? Not here, I hope.
Let me, no, it's Lynn. Okay, go for it. Finish it.
Okay. I'm sorry. So we did save the money to go on trips, but then he got sick with Parkinson's and we weren't able to go. So I've traveled very, very little. And then I had an opportunity a year ago to go to Greece. And I decided I'm taking it. And Rayzel was so amazing. I decided this is a good idea. I had a wonderful time. My daughter actually came with. She says, Mom, if you pay for me, I'll be glad to go. Yes. So,
Oh, is she coming this time too?
no, she's not. She has
Oh,
no interest in Croatia. Right now, she's in Alaska with her husband for her 30th wedding anniversary. So, um, I have no interest in Bosnia or Croatia, but I love going on trips with Rayzel. Like the one trip I took was so amazing. And so I figured this is a good idea. People told me Croatia is really nice. And my one experience with Bosnia is I was in Hadassah Nurses Council. At some point, Bosnia was the place where there was some fighting going on, and the group of nurses got together and actually went over there with supplies and teaching and things to help people as far as healing and nursing go. And I was one of the people that helped teeny weeny piece of organizing it, but especially organizing people donating who couldn't go on the trip. And I was one of the ones who couldn't go or didn't want to at the time, whatever. I had to take care of my husband. So I I want to go just because it's with Rayzel.
Oh, thank you, Evelyn.
You know,
Lynn?
Hi, I'm Lynn Kirschenbaum from Philadelphia. I do travel a lot, but I've never been to these countries, so I'm curious to hear more.
Great. Welcome, welcome, Terry. Terry, can I get you to unmute?
Yes, yes, you can. Thank you for the opportunity. Well, Fran, of course, immediately drafted me to consider this. She is a good outreach person, and these are countries I would like to visit. And also, I have had experience with Joseph in the past when I was in Bulgaria. I must have been 20 years ago. or more, and he helped me there. He didn't come, but he arranged the tour guide and where we went for part of the time. And I have a great warm feeling for Joseph and his wife and the boys. So when I saw that, I said, well, I have to listen and consider this.
Oh, good. So he's the draw. Excellent.
Well, I don't know you yet, but you come highly recommended in the last 15 minutes. I've never heard so many wonderful things about anybody before. This is amazing.
I just like to have a good time. What can I tell you? Marilyn.
So, hi. So, I'm Marilyn Michon. I've never been on a trip with you, but my friend Judith Hollander has, and she highly recommends traveling with you. I don't think she cares where you're going, actually. Um, so, I have two hesitations about the trip. One is that the synagogue I belong to in New York is they say they're planning a trip to Israel in February, and I'd like to go to that. I haven't been to Israel in too many years, and I want to go again before I leave this earth. So I don't know if I could combine the two. The only other hesitation is it's a long trip. If I were not going to Israel, I don't really want to take a trip that's that far, that's that many hours on a plane anymore. My brother lives in Hawaii, and I'm tired of, of those long trips too. So that's all. It's nothing personal. Since COVID, it's been, very stressful to get on a plane for me.
Yes, we understand. I have the itinerary broken into chunks. We know that there are people who just want to come for like the 10-day core trip. Maybe they don't have the money for the whole trip. Maybe they don't have the time off. Maybe they just don't want to stay away long. Then you can add the pre-trip and make it a little longer. So maybe it's worth the while to take the flight to get there. And then there's the post-trip, which is, just the tack on, usually a decompression kind of thing. That's a little bit more laid back, just to see another part of the area. So you've got some choices in terms of the itinerary, and you know what? We can tinker with it if something works for you, but not all of it. So, and Israel is on my radar too. Just to answer that quickly, I obviously want to leave. I've led 3 trips to Israel. I want to go back to Israel. I just have not felt comfortable leading a group while all this trouble is happening, but maybe peace is in sight. I'm going to probably combine it with Egypt, and so stay tuned for that down the road. I'm definitely getting back to Israel. So,
but you don't know what, but you don't have a
I don't have
target yet. Okay.
Elka.
Hi. I have never traveled with you, but I've seen you with performing and just leading people, and just it's very good to be with you. So I'm looking forward to being with you. I want the pre, the post, I want the whole thing. And I've never been to that area, so I'm also looking forward to knowing interesting places. So I'm on.
Tell them where you're coming from.
I am in Brazil. I am Brazilian, and I am in Brazil. It's even more spring and summer all the year than the West Coast. So I'm also going to be missing the sun and the heat, but I have a lot of sweaters, so
Listen,
it's possible.
I can also, we have lots of tips for staying warm. I can we can go over all that. One of the things I try to do is give a lot of packing tips and a lot of clothing trips and travel preparation trips so that you're really organized and ready to go when you go on one of my trips. So I try to make it easy. Okay, Paula, we heard from you. We know you've been on a number of trips with me, and even though you're not interested in Croatia, you might sign up again. But thank you all for just being here and giving me your time. I'm going to turn this over to Joseph to tell you a little bit more about the area, what we would see, and take it away.
Thanks, Rabbi Rayzel. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening. Uh, I do want to give you a short overview of what you can expect, and I'll have a couple of images to share to sort of guide us along. And I'm happy to answer any questions either during the presentation, but definitely at the end we'll have enough time, hopefully, to answer all your questions. And a quick apology in advance. I think at least two or three of you were on the previous info session. So some of the information may be a repeat for you. Some of the images may be a repeat, but it is the same trip that we're discussing. So for the benefit of the people who are signing up for the first time, we want to cover all the important aspects. Does everyone hears me fine? Yeah. Okay, so let me see if I can share my PowerPoint. And you can see my first slide. Yeah, this, by the way, is an image or a couple of images from the gorgeous Ashkenazi synagogue in Sarajevo, as it is known, even though today it serves the whole community, the combined Sephardic and Ashkenazi community. But historically, it was built at the beginning of the 20th century for the Ashkenazi newcomers to Sarajevo. Um, as you know from Rabbi Rayzel and from the posted materials, you have the option of a pre-tour, and that's why sort of chronologically we start with a quick overview of the pre-tour. If you decide to go, you will get to see Bosnia and Herzegovina and spend a few days in the capital, Sarajevo, which has very rich Jewish heritage, primarily Sephardic. Before we get into the individual cities and countries, map to give you a sense of where you will be in the Balkans. Within the Balkans, ex-Yugoslavia, the countries of former Yugoslavia, are part of what is known as the Western Balkans. And then within the Western Balkans, geopolitically currently, the main dividing line is between countries which are already EU members versus former Yugoslav countries which are not EU members yet. In your case, that would be Bosnia and Herzegovina, and you will learn a lot about current politics and also the prospects of Bosnia becoming an EU member. But you would be traveling through the western part of the Balkans. Another map to give you a sense, sort of a more uh, animated one. And then in terms of your trip itself, this is a rough outline of the route that you will be following, including the pre-trip. So if you were to start from the pre-tour here in Sarajevo, you'll spend a few days in Sarajevo, then and take a day trip to the medieval capital of Bosnia. But then after your 4 or 5 nights in Sarajevo, you will travel through the southern part of the country to the Herzegovina region, visiting Mostar, another site of Jewish significance in Bosnia, and then arriving arriving in Dubrovnik. So Dubrovnik is the start point for the main trip. If you decide not to come on the pre-tour extension, you would fly straight into Dubrovnik. And as you can see, a good part of your travels through Croatia is along the beautiful Adriatic coast. And speaking of weather, some of you had weather-related concerns. Once you are on the coast, you should certainly expect milder weather compared to, let's say, inland uh, Bosnia, but potentially Sarajevo may be on the colder or cooler side, but that really depends on the particular uh, week it may or may not be, but along the coast you should expect fairly mild and pleasant weather, even though this is early March. And from Dubrovnik, you'll get to the second largest city, Split, which is absolutely fascinating. And then as you travel inland, you'll stop at the famous Plitvice Lakes, a national um, UNESCO World Heritage Site, the capital, Zagreb, and then your last bit of the journey is in Slovenia. You'll be based in Slovenia's capital. You'll visit Lake Bled, and also you'll take a day trip to Trieste in Italy. And then for those of you who decide to stay on for the 4-day post tour, your post tour will take you to this beautiful peninsula known as Istria, the Croatian part of Istria, and we can talk about what that includes. A very brief kind of historical overview of what you can expect in terms of Jewish content. The communities that you'll be talking about in each of the cities and locations along the route are both Sephardic and Ashkenazi. There aren't really organized Romaniot communities in this region, but they are Sephardic and Ashkenazi, and historically, sort of the main factor in the makeup of the community is whether the region was part of the Habsburg Empire, the Austro-Hungarian Empire, or the Ottoman Empire. It was in the lands of the Ottoman Empire, and specifically Bosnia as our prime example, Sarajevo and Bosnia, where you get majority Sephardic communities, and conversely, in lands that were under the control and property of the Habsburgs of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, this is where you will learn of majority Ashkenazi communities. Now, the coast, the Croatian coast is interesting. There were significant pockets of Sephardic communities along the Adriatic coast, most notably in Dubrovnik and in Split, where you'll visit and you will see both of these fantastic 16th century synagogues. Here you see a map of the route that the Sephardic Jews took after the expulsion from Spain and Portugal, and the areas that they settled. This is the historic reason why in Ottoman lands today, even in former Ottoman lands, even to the present day, we see majority Sephardic communities. Here is an inside view of that same gorgeous Ashkenazi synagogue, the synagogue in Sarajevo, with which we started. If you join the pre-tour, obviously one of the main highlights would be spending Purim together with the Sarajevo community at this fantastic synagogue. The oldest remaining synagogue in Sarajevo is today the Jewish Museum. You can see it here. It dates back to the 1580s or so. And even though this is the museum dedicated to the Jews of Bosnia, it is also a functioning synagogue because the community holds services twice a year on Rosh Hashanah and on Yom Kippur, so that they maintain its status as an active synagogue as well. The third floor has an exhibit dedicated to the tragic history of the Holocaust and the roughly 12,000 Jews of Bosnia who perished. The rest of the museum gives you a sort of a longer, rich history of Sephardic presence in Sarajevo. Images from that city, the capital, it's a true sort of oriental gem. I think within Southeastern Europe, I think Sarajevo is probably, outside of Turkey, Sarajevo is the place where you can get a very authentic oriental feel of what life seemed like uh, back in, let's say, the 17th, 18th century. Sarajevo was also the home of the first streetcar in Europe. The Austro-Hungarian Empire tested its streetcars in Sarajevo before running them in Vienna. And once you leave Sarajevo and travel through southern Bosnia and Herzegovina towards Dubrovnik, this site in front of you is the tomb of a 19th century Bosnian rabbi, Moshe Danon, whose story you will learn, and that story is actually connected to the holiday of Purim. It is called the Sarajevo Purim story. I won't give you the details because you will learn about it on the trip itself, but this is the most important pilgrimage site for the Jews of Bosnia, located not far from the town of Mostar. And this is an image of Mostar, which you will also visit en route from Sarajevo to Dubrovnik, with its famous Ottoman bridge over the Neretva River, one of the most beautiful towns in Bosnia, in my opinion, together with Sarajevo. In Sarajevo, of course, before you leave, one of the highlights, in addition to celebrating Purim, will be seeing the amazing 14th century illuminated manuscript, the Sarajevo Haggadah, the world famous Sarajevo Haggadah, which is held at the National Museum. Your main trip, as we mentioned, starts in Dubrovnik, another UNESCO World Heritage Site. Some images from that very beautiful town. The synagogue in Dubrovnik dates back to the 16th century, and it's the second oldest continually functioning synagogue in Europe after the one in Prague. Absolutely beautiful building, and the synagogue itself is on the top third floor, and one floor below it is a lovely little Jewish museum as well, which you will visit. Another image from the synagogue in Dubrovnik. Sort of a panoramic view of the ramparts and the old town. More shots from Dubrovnik. Once you leave Dubrovnik and you travel along the very picturesque Adriatic coast, your next stop is the town of Split, the main port of Croatia and the second largest city in Croatia after the capital. It also has very rich and important Jewish history and Jewish legacy to this day. This image, by the way, is taken from the hill where the cemetery, where the Jewish cemetery is located, another site that you will visit on your Jewish tour. The Split Synagogue is also dates back to the 16th century. It's almost as old as the one in Dubrovnik. And on your right, this is the synagogue Gabbai, the caretaker of the synagogue. He's also the vice president of the community. You will hopefully meet him in person together with some other members of the small but very vibrant community in Split. And you will also have the chance to celebrate Shabbat in the synagogue in Split. This is an image of the cemetery, which I mentioned. And the port, another view of the port. Once you leave Sarajevo and drive inland through inland Croatia towards the capital, your main stop is the beautiful natural reserve, the Plitvice Lakes. It's a group of lakes and waterfalls with some of the sort of most gorgeous nature in the whole of Croatia. And in the capital, Zagreb, you will visit both the upper town, the old town or the upper town, and then the lower parts of the city center. In the upper town, This is where Parliament is located and one of the main churches, which you see here as well. More images from Zagreb. It has kind of a very beautiful combination of Central European and Mediterranean aspects to it, but I think you'll feel how the culture on the Dalmatian coast is significantly different from the more Central European influenced culture in the capital. More images from Zagreb, some traditional clothing. Zagreb again, this is one of the liveliest pedestrian streets with some traditional coffee shops and restaurants. We're still in Zagreb, and the Jewish heritage in Zagreb is the richest. It's also home to the biggest community, the biggest Jewish community in the whole of Croatia. Naturally, they reside in the capital. Once you leave Croatia, your neighboring country that you'll visit next is Slovenia. In Slovenia, your first stop is Lake Bled with its spectacular castle at the top of this lake. And from Lake Bled, you will continue on to Slovenia's charming capital, Ljubljana, one of, I think, the loveliest cities in this part of Europe. It's all pedestrian. The whole central part of the city is fully pedestrian with a lot of cyclists as well. And your hotel is very centrally located. It's actually right behind this pink building right on the main square. From Ljubljana, you'll take a day trip to Trieste in Italy, and you will visit the really stunning early 20th century synagogue in Trieste. It's one of the most magnificent ones, I think, in the whole of Europe. You can see it here on the left, dating back to about 1904, I believe, or so. And this is the main square, typical Austro-Hungarian architecture, because that part of Italy was part of Austro-Hungary for a good few decades. And if you go on the post-trip extension, this is where you will be based for 2 nights, a lovely fisherman's town called Rovin or Rovin on the Istrian Peninsula. And the Istrian Peninsula, which is shared by Italy, Slovenia, and Croatia, Istria is really famous for its mountain towns. This is probably the best known mountain town, Motovun, which you will visit together with a couple of other ones, and then a coastal historic town called Porec is on your itinerary. Then, of course, the Istrian truffles are one of the biggest highlights of that region. If you love truffles, this is the place to sample them, and we will also include some truffle hunting as part of your experience in Istria. Equally famous is the Istrian olive oil. Croatia as a whole produces amazing olive oils, but the ones from the Istrian Peninsula are definitely the best, as are the wines. But in addition to the wines, there is one brandy distillery, which is very, very well known across Croatia, and we will include a visit to that distillery as well. And as we mentioned, this is significant wine country. Probably the most important wine country within Croatia is the Istrian Peninsula, and there are a few grape varieties that are native to that region only and produce local wines, which you can only get in Istria. And I think that's my last slide. Let me stop the slide share here. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Don't be shy.
Okay, I have a question. Wait, am I muted? Okay. So everything looks fantastic. I would want to do the whole trip. I do love the outdoors. So would we have time to also like walk around the lakes and, all the different beautiful places like Lake Bled and all the other lakes? Will we have time to walk around and be
Absolutely.
out in nature?
Absolutely. So first of all, at the Plitvice Lakes and Waterfalls,
Uh-huh.
the the tour of the waterfalls itself, of the Plitvice Lakes itself, is obviously completely outdoors. You will be spending about 2 hours or 2 hours and a half
Okay.
exploring that natural park, and
Okay.
you may get some free time on top of that. The same is true of Lake Bled. While you're at the lake, you will be outdoors the whole time, and you will spend a good amount of time both at the lake and at the castle, which is at the top of the lake. And besides these two uh, places that you asked about, both in Dubrovnik and in Split,
Right.
in Zagreb too, in all the places we've built in a good amount of free time outside of the organized tours. And during that free time, you can also continue exploring, let's say, outdoor natural sites if that's your preference. Others may decide to go to a museum, which your tour leader will point out. But if it's not part of the tour, we will always give you quite a few options for your free time, and there will be a good sort of I think the right balance between organized, scheduled touring versus free time to continue exploring the same city or the same site on your own.
Okay, thank you. And I have one
Yeah.
last question.
Yes.
Um, it's funny because I go to Israel all the time and I'm never scared when I'm in Israel, but I've heard a couple of things about Bosnia. Is it safe there?
Bosnia is absolutely safe. It's Bosnians, and specifically in Sarajevo, the capital, but throughout Bosnia, the locals pride themselves, and I think rightly so, on a kind of a long history of friendly coexistence between the Muslim
Mm-hmm.
minority, or in Sarajevo, actually the Muslim majority in the city,
Okay.
and the Jewish community. And you'll learn about this, and there are a few sort of historic moments that stand out. But I
Okay.
think to this day, when you meet members of the Jewish community in Sarajevo, I know for sure that they will tell you that they feel completely safe and on very friendly terms with their Muslim neighbors, and also with their East Orthodox Christian neighbors. This is in Sarajevo, and then in other places with their Catholic Croatian neighbors as well. So safety wise, and I think this is sort of a question that always comes up and should come up. All three countries that you'll be visiting are very, very safe from the perspective of a Jewish traveler.
Okay, because there's a lot of anti-Semitism, as you know, in many parts of Europe now. So,
Yes. Yes.
mm,
No, I'm aware of this. This is sort of my take on it, and we are in touch constantly with
okay.
the local community leaders, and we receive updates there. I mean, when there are sporadic incidents, we
Mhm.
hear about them, and at this point, that's all that has happened. Occasional
Okay, thank you.
sporadic incidents, I would say, yeah. And I see a question in the chat from Evelyn about meals, whether all meals are included,
No, that's not the question.
or it's about vegetarian meals. Is it? Yes, there will always be a vegetarian option at all meals. For the group meals that we offer, obviously there will never be any pork products or shellfish.
Mhm.
And then beyond that, if anyone keeps kosher and doesn't eat non-kosher meat, we will also have vegetarian and fish options. And there are quite a few local dishes that are both vegetarian, fully vegetarian, fish-based ones, and there are good vegan options as well if
Oh,
somebody's
great.
vegan. Yeah, yeah. None of these dietary issues should be a concern. I see a question also about public restrooms, and the answer is yes, there are public restrooms.
So are they available, the public restrooms, when we'll be outdoors for
Yeah.
2.5 hours?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We'll include stops. We'll include stops at the right time, for people to use the restroom. It can be combined with a coffee break, depending on the place. Sometimes we give people 20 minutes for a coffee break. If a local coffee shop is your best bet for, using the restroom, in other places there will be an actual restroom. You shouldn't be. Yeah, we take this into account, and something I did not mention, but I think you'll be happy to hear, is that you will have a functioning toilet on the bus while you're traveling, which is, I think it's a great advantage, and we'll make sure that you have a fully, you know, uh, uh, yeah, you'll definitely have a bathroom on the bus.
I just wanted to follow up with the reverse question. If you're going out for 2 hours in a park and somebody doesn't want to hike, is there always places to sit down and rest and put your feet up? We always have that as
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yes.
about Joseph. He runs foodie tours. Right?
Mm.
I am completely trusting him to find us the right restaurants on these trips. And what we're thinking of doing, because some people really like to just stay with the group and some people like to explore. So we've included a balance, but we might consider like a food optional package where
Right.
if for those that just want to stay together as a group, we're going to have something like that. So we haven't figured out.
Exactly. Yeah. In addition to the included meals that are already built into your tour package, we will likely have an option of having more group meals together, and we'll just collect funds in advance, and it may be the better way to do it, unless you prefer to explore restaurants on your own. But in all cities, we will have suggestions, regardless of whether you decide to join the group for, one of the meals that's not included, but we're organizing. We'll have additional recommendations for other restaurants as well. I see Wendy has a question.
Yeah, as you mentioned, a working restroom on a bus. Will the buses have Wi-Fi?
I I don't want to promise you Wi-Fi on the bus because most likely it will not have it. The easiest would be to make sure that your cell phone provider has a good data plan. And in my
Oh,
experience, I mean, for those who use T-Mobile as their carrier, they have an excellent international plan, but I know other carriers too as well.
and what about like are are we going to be able to charge stuff as in electronic charges on the bus? Do you know if they have?
Not on every seat, depending on, but the buses that we use they don't necessarily have a USB plug on each
Okay,
and every seat. You may be able to do it close to the driver, and we'll also send recommendations for a couple of small but sort of efficient power banks that you can bring and charge your phone this way.
but the hotels have Wi-Fi,
Oh,
right?
absolutely, yeah.
Okay,
Hotels have Wi-Fi, and I think, always a good idea to carry a power bank with you. But if you really need it, your driver will help you um, get you some juice in your phone up front, where you can charge on the bus. Yeah.
Right. I guess Steve's got a couple questions. What's the maximum length of the bus rides themselves, and how crowded do you expect the towns to be?
Yeah, that I think that what Rabbi Rayzel was saying earlier, one very big benefit of traveling during this time of year, early March, is
Mm.
that you will be avoiding all the huge crowds of the peak of the tourist season, which is June, July, August. So you will definitely not be encountering large crowds at all. And I think in some ways the weather may also be an advantage. You will not be experiencing the heat of midsummer, which on some days can be, unbearable. In terms of distances, this itinerary is very well balanced, I think, in terms of travel times. Two examples that I can give you, if you were to come on the pre-tour extension, the last day of the pre-tour, when you drive from Sarajevo to Dubrovnik, including the sightseeing stops in Mostar, where you'll spend a couple of hours to tour the town of Mostar, visiting the grave of Rabbi Moshe Danon, with all of these side visits built in, you can expect, for example, to depart from your hotel around 8:30 in the morning, let's say, roughly, and you will be at your final destination in Dubrovnik around 6:30 p.m. That's kind of a longer day, but it includes, it's not traveling on the bus the whole time. Most other days, the total duration will be much shorter. And yeah, I think the only other example of a slightly longer day would be the day from Split via the Plitvice Lakes to Zagreb. On that day, again, if you leave at 8:30 with the 2.5 hours at the lakes and with lunch included along the way, you'll still be at your hotel in Zagreb probably by 6 p.m., let's say,
And
give or take. Yeah.
Steve, let me just say that we do adjust flexibly, even though he might say 8:30. If there's a day where we sense the group is just really tired, or few days after jet lag kind of thing, we'll take a slower morning, or that we don't have a whole lot of travel to do. We will adjust this based on sort of the needs of the group at any given time. So we're not running an army-based boot camp trip here. It's more, what does the group need?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And your tour director will be very flexible, and he will discuss all of these sort of daily logistics with Rabbi Rayzel and with the rest of you. You'll be making these decisions together.
And Tony's got a question about the snow.
You, I mean, I don't know if you get any snow at all. I think it's unlikely. But if you were to get any snow at all, that would be in Sarajevo. Or if it doesn't actually snow, you may see some snow-capped peaks around you because, Sarajevo, not far from Sarajevo,
Hmm.
are several mountains. This is where the Winter Olympics were held, if you remember. Or I don't know if this is before your time, but in the mid 80s, the Winter Olympics were held in
How
Sarajevo.
how cold does it get in the other countries? Like, what would possibly be the low? Do you have any idea?
Um,
I think that's a Google question.
yeah,
Okay, I'll do that
yeah, you
again.
could check that the same week this past year, you could check what the
Okay.
Yeah.
weather was. But again, you will see that along the coast it was very mild, and then you can take a look for Sarajevo.
And
Yeah.
then I will also give you my tips for what wool brands are the best travel brands and what silk undershirts. Like,
Right.
well,
Yeah, because what one person thinks is mild, another person thinks is cold. So, right. So,
Yeah. You can take a look at sort of the last couple of years, what the weather
okay.
has been, let's say in early March, the last couple of years. Yeah.
Wendy asked about walking times.
I think on average, uh, a walking tour of a given city could take about 2 hours, maybe 2.5 hours, including stops and site visits, such as a Jewish museum or a synagogue. So this is not continuous walking the whole time, but in total, up to, I would say, up to 3 hours at the most, with, with restroom breaks, with coffee stops included, and site visits. Yeah.
And what I say is do your best you can to get in shape before you go. And then, even when you get on that bus, by the time the end of the trip comes, you will be in better shape. Okay, let's see, here's another one. Detailed itinerary. Yes, we have it, Steve. It's on my website, and I will give it to you. The only thing that's not complete is the post-trip, but everything else is complete. I think Evelyn's got her hand up again.
I'm a person who's always freezing, always cold. And so on the trip to Greece, I had my winter coat with me that covers it has a hood and it covers all the way down to my ankles almost. So I was very comfortably warm, the way I like to be, until near the end of the trip. It started getting nice warm days when I didn't really need to wear my winter coat, or maybe a jacket sufficed. And I had that with me too. So having the winter coat was very comfortable for me.
Yeah, we can talk about all that. Any other questions about the trip, the itinerary? Because we will do a session on how to pack. I've got all kind of tips: how to pack, what shoes. I'm still searching for the perfect pair of walking shoes. Books I can give you to read about the area. I can give you that now, but I just want to see if there's any other questions first before. Yes, Evelyn's got another hand up.
I have a billion questions always. So on the trip to Greece, we actually flew to an island during the trip. And so we had to fly again and worry about the weights and the measurements and all that stuff. And so this seems not to have any of that. Once we're there, we don't have to fly
Right.
again.
No, absolutely. You'll be traveling by bus the whole time. Once you arrive, whether it's in Sarajevo or Dubrovnik, you'll be traveling by bus only.
Okay.
Yes, Wendy?
Can you fly direct to Sarajevo?
You would be making one stop in Europe. There is no direct flight from the US, but there are very convenient connections, either via Frankfurt, Munich, Vienna. Some people fly through Istanbul. There are quite a few routes with one stop in Europe. Yeah.
And what about on the way home from wherever the last place is that we're going to be?
Yeah. The last place is Ljubljana, Slovenia's capital.
Is that
Whether
for sorry to interrupt, but is that for including the post trip?
It's for both. It's for
Okay.
both. Ljubljana would be your departure airport, in both cases, if you were to go on the extension or not. Um, I don't think there is a direct flight to the US from Ljubljana. Again, you would be making one stop, and there are even more options from Ljubljana. It could be Zurich, Frankfurt, Munich, Vienna, Paris, London. You have plenty of options.
I have my flights already, so I did some of this research. Lufthansa, Swiss Air. I'm leaving from Newark. I have to, stop at each place, either Vienna, Zurich. Apparently you can get there on Turkish Airlines too, but I didn't do that. So it's a little hard getting there, but once you're getting there, it's kind of okay.
Yeah, and when we get to that point, if anybody needs help booking your flights, we have a ticketing agent who is available to help. So if
Okay.
you need to just reach out and I can get a quote for you from our airfare agent. And also, as you're signing up for the trip, we will also get you a travel insurance quote from our group account. And we recommend getting the insurance right away, mostly so that you're covered for pre-existing medical conditions as well.
I have another question. Yeah, because I'm on the West Coast. So I would actually like if it was possible to possibly fly to the East Coast and meet some people and then travel together with some people that are going, maybe with you, Rabbi. I mean, I would just, I'm just
You
thinking
can
about that.
That's definitely a possibility. Your second option would be to connect with people, for example, in Frankfurt. If they're connecting in Frankfurt, we could also time it that way for you to fly from the West Coast to Frankfurt and know that on the second leg of the flight into Sarajevo, if you're going to Sarajevo, there are people from the group. Yeah.
Okay, so I can reach out to you. We have your number and you could help us book it.
I will put my flights in the chat here. Let me just say that I booked them with points, and if anybody wants some coaching on which credit card to get the points to get a free flight and how to do that, I can also tell you that. So you can let me know about that. But I will put my flights here in the chat, so they will be there for the.
And maybe in the email, your email as well.
You should have a separate call for that one, Rayzel.
Yeah, really.
I can do once we sort of know who's going. I will do a call just on pre-trip, just on trip. Whether it's packing, flights, travel insurance, all of that stuff. Once you make your decision, you go. I give you as much support as I can to get you there in the best way.
Great. How many people are usually on your trip, since I haven't traveled with you? How many do you think on this one?
Well, I would say I have 23 interested. I don't know if all 23 are going to go, but I have 23 that are interested. I've taken there were 6 of us.
Zam hit a plateau. We could get other work for him to do that.
Just one second. Everybody needs my attention. Where was I?
You said there were 6 of us. There were 6 of us.
India, okay. But there were 26 in Morocco, 25 in Greece, 18 in Spain. So if we're at 22, I would say we're going to at least have 18. And then there's other people that have expressed interest. They're not here today. Another half a dozen or so. So I don't know. I don't want too many more than 25, 26. We can handle that big a group, but maximum 30. But it's okay if it's a little smaller. It's okay with me. We get to know each other a little easier to manage, that kind of thing. So I can't give you till I know. And the deposit is refundable, Joseph, until when?
I need to take a second look, but I think the deposit is refundable until 3 months before departure, if I'm not mistaken. But I'll take a second look and send you that information, Rabbi Rayzel, so you can share it with everyone.
Okay. And okay. Any other, Evelyn, another question?
So I understand that from Trieste, there's a train ride for like 2 hours, and it takes you to the glass blowing capital of Italy, which I wrote down, but somehow it's not coming to my Murano. And is that
Mhm.
like a possibility to do at the end and fly home from there?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, people have gone to Venice as on their own quite a few times, and you can certainly do that and fly out of Venice if you decide. And there is convenient transportation uh, from Ljubljana to Venice. Absolutely. And again, you could do it even if you come on the post tour extension. At the end of the post tour, you're back in Ljubljana, Slovenia's capital. So if you have more time to spend in that region, you can definitely go to Venice. Yeah.
Well, from Ljubljana, how far is it to the train that goes to Venice?
Um, you can take a train. There is also a shuttle service that offers transportation, and it seems to be quite convenient. If you take that shuttle service, I think it's about a 3.5 hour ride, 3 to 3.5 hours. And on the train, it's probably similar.
Oh, so it's not a 2 hour trip. Like I was told 1 to 2 hours.
Well, it depends. Maybe from Trieste, I'm not sure, but your last overnight is in Ljubljana. Yeah. Trieste is a day trip.
Oh, okay.
Any other questions?
Get my flights posted in here, but if anybody has any other questions.
Steve has a question.
Do we have your phone number or how we get in touch with you if we want help with ticketing?
Yes, I think Rabbi Rayzel can share my contact information and
Okay.
say if you're ready to sign up for the trip, you would
Yeah.
also drop me a note or write to Rabbi Rayzel, and she'll include me so that we can send you the registration forms, but also travel insurance quote, and we can help with airfare as well.
You'll be on the trip with us? You're on the trip with us?
I will not be traveling
Oh,
myself. You'll have a tour director
mhm.
and local guides in each
Nice.
city as well.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, my question was if we have further questions after today, should we email you? Can we get your email address?
Yes. You can, yes, Steve. The short
Thank you.
is yes. You can email me and Joseph. It would be great so that I know the questions too. You should have the email on all the, unless you all never received a missive, one of my emails that said, here's the Zoom meeting, here's who's going. Joseph's email is on that already, but I can certainly, or Joseph, why don't you put it in the chat?
Okay, yeah, I'll put it in the chat as well. It's just my last name
Chat.
at gmail.com. Here, I just put it in the chat. It's my last name, Benatov at gmail.com. And yeah.
Yes, Elka.
Yes. I was considering taking a cruise from Italy to see the beautiful country from the ocean and go down. Is that something you might be able to help? It's
You're asking me?
yeah,
At the end of the trip,
yeah.
you're thinking once the trip ends, yeah, we can be in touch. We can be in
Okay.
touch, and uh, we can discuss details. Absolutely, yeah.
All right. Thank you. And Rayzel, will you be able to put this that you put in the chat in an email so that we will have the information and I don't have to copy from the chat and
I think that'll be easier than me. It's for some reason it's not copying very well. Esther, I don't think I have your email. Terry, I don't think I have your email. Lynn, I don't think I have your email. So if you would put those in the chat so that I can send you the follow-up, the link to this meeting, some further information, travel tips. I think I have everybody else's. You've probably gotten an email from me at some point. And I want to, so one of the things that I've been doing to prepare for this is I watched The Empress on Netflix. It was a fantastic show, and it's all about the Habsburg dynasty. And so that sort of put that into perspective for me. I also watched, there's a couple of shows again on Netflix about the Ottomans. So I did that as well, because what I've learned is that the Balkans were really the fault lines between all the religions and the the conquerors at different points of time. I read 2 books by Robert Kaplan. He's a Jewish man who is a journalist. The first one he wrote was Bosnian Ghosts. He wrote when he was in his 20s, and he sort of hitchhiked through Bosnia and
Balkan Ghosts.
sorry, hitchhiked all the way. It was pretty grim, because it was many years ago. And then he wrote another one called Adriatic, which is all the countries that we will visit. And he was much older, is much more philosophical writing. And so it felt like he had aged and the countries had grown up as well. So it was a fascinating read to read both of them. I would think if you want to just read one, Adriatic was good. It was talked about the geopolitical, tectonic plates that shift periodically, and it was fascinating. So I would recommend those 2, and Robert Kaplan's his name, if you want to do a little background reading. But Netflix was pretty good too. and somebody just sent me. There's a Netflix show called Feeding Phil. It's a Jewish man who goes around the world eating, and there is a section just on, I think it's Dubrovnik or Split, where he eats he shows you the scenes of what we're going to see. So I did that as well. But I'll put those in an email, and it just helps prepare. There is a lot of information that comes at you. I really appreciate Sari's comment that she was there and she just going back to learn more, because it really is a fascinating history with many layers. And also, I just feel like at this time, where I'm not going to Israel, that the mission to connect with Jews around the world is very important. I don't know if you've seen the news just the other day, the Sarajevo Haggadah. They said the proceeds are going to go to Gaza. So suddenly the Sarajevo Haggadah is in the news again. And so I just feel like that supporting the local Jewish communities, as we went through Greece and as I've been through Spain and Morocco, and India, where there are small Jewish communities, perhaps one person is dedicating their life to being, you called him the shamus or the gabbai of the synagogue. One person is fundraising, holding the town together, holding the history of those towns together. The time to go is kind of now, because who's going to take that over when they're gone? I don't know. And in Crete, there were no Jews that were really holding the synagogue. It was non-Jews that were holding the synagogue together. And when my group descended on them for Purim, we just helped make the whole celebration. So we hope to do that at that Split Jewish community for Shabbat, because it's a very small, dwindling community. And if we show up with 20 people and do a service, then it just uplifts the whole thing. So I'm looking forward to that, as well as seeing what Purim in Bosnia will be. As a child, Purim Was a great holiday with costumes. As an adult, I've been looking for meaning for Purim, and to be in another country, in another synagogue, is a meaningful experience, just to be connected around the world. So I just put that out to you as my part of my kavanah, my intention of going is to connect to the communities and learn about them, how they survived under various authoritarian rules. We could learn from them and they can learn from us. So I just want to say that as part of why I'm going to these places, even though I knew nothing about them either, but I trusted Joseph. Other questions, comments? I want to close with, but you could also talk to me or email me if you need a roommate, if you're thinking you want to travel with somebody and don't know who yet, but it'll bring the cost of your room down. You can let me know that. Susan, you've got your hand up. Can you unmute? Susan, can you unmute? No, I'm not getting a sound. Okay, I wanted to sort of close with a song that we will sing on this trip. It's a Tfilat HaDerech. It's the traveler's prayer. So it goes like this. Oh, the fruit of our hands and the offerings of our hearts brought us all together so we can do our part. We're on a sacred journey, we knew it from the start. Give us life, give us love, give us joy. We ask for your blessings of protection. Guide our footsteps on the way. We open up to new directions. Keep us safe on the journey each day. Oh, the fruit of our hands and the offerings of our hearts brought us all together so we can do our part. We're on a sacred journey, we knew it from the start. Give us life, give us love, give us joy. Give us life, give us love, give us joy. So we'll go with that intention. We'll go with that intention to travel together. I really see us, people who travel with me, it's not about me, but it's about the group and who we can become. We can sit home and be cold. I can sit home and be cold and miserable and complain all winter long. But if I'm with a group of people and I'm singing and I'm praying and I'm on a mission and I'm learning and I'm excited about what happens, then the rest of it, I become my better self. And that's what I hope to do with people through these trips, is become our better selves and be better people as we travel and learn. It's not just about everything we see. It's about who we are on the journey, who we are to each other, etc. So just email us for the information. Stay in touch. Tell your friends. I mean, the trip is still open at the moment. So tell your friends and we're ready to roll. Okay.
Wait. And how much was the deposit for the whole trip? I just want to know, if you know offhand.
I will follow up, Tony, with all the details.
Okay, great.
Deposit is $1,000. And then it depends. Here's what the rest of it depends on. It depends on how long you're going, which pieces of the trip, the beginning, the middle, or the end, the pre, the middle, and the post. It depends on how many people we have. If you take take a careful look at the itinerary and stuff, it varies. If we have a certain number of people, it's going to be more. If we have a certain less, it's going to be. If we have less, it's going to be more. If we have more, it'll be less. So bring your friends, and it'll be cheaper. And if you make the deposit by when I think it's the 20, is today the 25th, you get the $50 off the registration. And if you bring a friend, you can have you get a few discounts, and I'll put that in an email as well.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Could you put the information about your bookings in an email because I found it difficult to find
The books, is that what you said?
the information about your like your bookings for booking
Your
the
flights.
airfare.
Oh, my flight, I'll put it in an email.
Yeah.
Oh, let's see who's in the chat here. How many people have registered? I have, how many people have registered? I have 8 deposits and I have another 20, 15 that are interested. I thought we had an overnight in Trieste, says Susan.
Yeah. No, Trieste is a day trip. You spend the whole day in Trieste, but you return to Ljubljana for the night.
And the post trip, though, we do have overnights.
Yeah. The post trip has 2 overnights in Rovin, and then you come back to Ljubljana just so you can fly out of Ljubljana at the end. Yeah.
Okay, I think we're good. And I will send this out and consolidate all the information. Hopefully it won't be too overwhelming. And if it is, we'll have another Zoom and we'll unpack it all.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a
Thank
good
you.
evening.
Thank you very
Bye-bye.
much.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Rayzel, I don't understand how you have time to watch Netflix because you do so many other things.